And there have been plenty of times where we've had celebrities interfere, celebrities help influence the way a match will result in at Mania, let alone. But this makes zero sense. Okay, so do I want to start out with Jey Uso winning the World Heavyweight Championship against Gunther? We could start out about that. Do I want to start out about how Tiffany Stratton and Charlotte Flair had a dud at Mania after the last 2 weeks of a decent build-up to that match, by the way? We could. Or could I start out with Becky Lynch returning on Sunday night and then leaving Bayley out of that WrestleMania tag team match with Lyra, only for Becky to turn heel the very next night on Monday Night Raw? Or do I want to talk about how the IWC and the Dirt Sheets got annihilated hours before WrestleMania even started? Or do I want to talk about the main event that we can only pretty much sum up that main event with one word? And I'm actually going to do that with the entire pay-per-view, which is underwhelming. So let's just go ahead and start out with this whole main event, because The Rock came out earlier on the Pat McAfee show and pretty much said, like, hey, we had no real plan when it came to this. And I came back at Elimination Chamber because I was pretty much told I had to, so we can get some ticket sales. Ticket sales for Elimination Chamber. Not even ticket sales for WrestleMania. They needed to sell tickets for Elimination Chamber. This is coming straight from The Rock's mouth. And then he wants to claim in the very same breath, on the very same interview of the very same show on Pat McAfee's show, and says this.
Final boss, step back into the shadows. Let all the spotlight go to John. Let it go to Cody. Let's not make it about Cody's soul eventually or John's soul.
He says he called Cena and Rhodes after Elimination Chamber and said, I feel the final boss work is done. Really? We've just pulled off the greatest angle in the history of pro wrestling. Now, I did watch the interview. He goes on, he adds to that. I don't know why they didn't add it in this, but obviously whatever. Internet's going to internet. But he did say right after this, before people start saying it's not the greatest angle, he did say that the Hulk Hogan turning heel angle was bigger than this one. So, just to clarify that. With that being said, this dude just talked out of both sides of his mouth in the same interview. Because he literally admitted and said, yo, I can't remember what he said. It was Nick Khan or somebody. Somebody called him and said, yo, we need to sell tickets for Elimination Chamber. And The Rock said, all right, say less. Final boss is on his way. They do the whole thing, Elimination Chamber, break the internet, we get it, blah, blah, whatever. But here we are a month and a half later. And The Rock, and it's the biggest show of the year, by the way. It's not even like we're talking about SummerSlam or Royal Rumble or Money in the Bank, Survivor Series. No, not even Saudi fucking Arabia. We are talking about WrestleMania. The biggest show of the year. And The Rock decides to not only not show up. No clues, no hints, nothing. We got a video of him driving on the road in Hawaii, I believe Saturday afternoon. And we thought for surely, okay, well, obviously he's fucking with us. He's going to be showing up, Mania, main event. You hear Travis Scott's music pop in that main event. Very boring main event, by the way. I was sitting there like this. I'm like, bruh, are they going to get to the match? Like, what is it that we're watching? You hear Travis Scott's music. He comes out there. And by the way, Travis Scott still didn't get if we're calling the crossroads that he got from Cody Rhodes a receipt, I'm not calling that a receipt, fam. Sorry. That ain't no receipt.
Can I get a picture? Yo, we can get a picture. Receipt is coming. Yo, please. Yeah. I got some for that picture.
But the fact that we got Travis Scott out there, right, interrupts the match, pretty much costs Cody the WWE Championship. And then even after the match, we're still waiting. We're still like, okay, The Rock has to show up. Still no Rock. And you want to know what Cena's explanation was yesterday? Was that they didn't need The Rock. You mean the guy that had you turn heel just a month and a half ago, working with him? You did the whole final boss, slitting of the throat, whatever thing at Elimination Chamber. You win the WWE Championship in the main event at WrestleMania, and this is what we're doing. Now, I can completely understand and see the perspective of John Cena's character. I'm not talking about Cena. Fuck Cena. I mean, not necessarily fuck Cena, but fuck Cena in this particular instance, okay? Let's not worry about Cena in this particular instance because he's only doing what he can do. The Rock is the one that set this up. The Rock is the one that put all this stuff in motion. The Rock is the one that introduced Travis Scott to us. And yet we're going to sit here and listen to The Rock, and he's actually going to sit there and believe the own words coming out of his mouth when he's saying ticket sales were low for Elimination Chamber. And on the other hand, I wanted Cody and John Cena to have their spotlight. But you also wanted Travis Scott to have a spotlight. See, here's the thing. I could understand if Travis Scott was a part of the build-up to Mania, but he wasn't. We saw him one time involved in this whole thing, and that was at Elimination Chamber, where he allegedly busted Cody's eardrum, by the way. We haven't seen him since. Haven't heard from him since. We knew he was going to be at Mania. We know that he's a big WWE fan. Cool, good for him. There's a lot of celebrities that are WWE fans. And there have been plenty of times where we've had celebrities interfere, celebrities help, or influence the way a match will result in at Mania, let alone. But this makes zero fucking sense. It does. And then when we're thinking we're going to get a proper explanation, and I know, long-term storytelling, I completely get it. But the way that The Rock is talking right now is that, not one, he doesn't know when he's going to be able to appear again. And two, he's saying, look, the final boss's work is done. What I did was, and if you listen to if you just sit there and watch the interview, I don't know if I can really show it because of copyright issues. I don't know if the McAfee show does the copyright stuff, even though it is on YouTube. But I don't want to take that chance. So I just go and watch the interview. Or at least watch some clips of the interview, and you will see The Rock's mannerism as he's talking. You can see that he's like giving this whole corporate response, even on a Pat fucking McAfee show. Now, I'm not saying that The Rock is going to sit here and give us every single ingredient, or he needs to give us every single ingredient of the whole entire story of what they're telling. I'm not saying all that. But fam, you got us lost as fuck, and not in a good way. Because we're sitting here wondering, why did this happen, first of all, at WrestleMania? And second of all, why did we just watch Cody Rhodes' title reign lose from a low blow and him getting hit in the face with a title? When just last year, for him to get the title, he went through 10 times more than that. This is the inconsistency that I've been talking about ever since Royal Rumble. I don't know what's been happening with Triple H. I don't know. And again, I'm not saying everything was terrible at WrestleMania. Not by any means. There were some good matches. But man, overall, underwhelming. Naomi carried Jade Cargill in that entire match that they had on Saturday. Jade Cargill's second Mania, and she still got to be carried. Even though she's only had like 5 matches her whole WWE career. This woman who was introduced at WrestleMania a year ago had to be taken off of Mania. I mean, not off of Mania. Had to be taken off of TV to be retrained on how to properly wrestle. And I guess in terms of what we saw on Saturday, learn how to sell. Then we see Becky Lynch come back on Sunday night. I wasn't mad at it, but until we learned that the Bayley injury wasn't a real injury. So Bayley wasn't really taken off of this card for any real reason. And there was an interview that she had with CVV a couple days prior to WrestleMania that ended up airing, I believe, yesterday or earlier this morning. And you can see the frustration in her interview. You can see the frustration in her comments and the way she's talking about the difference between her and the other horsewomen.
Yeah.
And then it's like, well, what now?
Yeah, I know. It's oof. By the time this comes out, there's going to be even
Wait, what does that mean?
it's hard. It's hard. It's like sometimes I think it's my that's what keeps me here is because I don't go freaking kick the door down and be like, I'm not doing that. Why would I do that? I'm fucking Bailey. Like, why would I do that? You know?
And who was she replaced by on Sunday? Another horsewoman. Who then, last night on Monday Night Raw, turned heel on the very same person that she won the tag team titles with on Sunday night. Yet again, we are talking about the cursed WWE Women's Tag Team titles. Liv Morgan and Raquel Rodriguez are 4-time Women's Tag Team champions. Why is that even a thing? And the last time Liv and Raquel Rodriguez had a feud with anybody with the tag team titles, guess what? They broke up because there was a heel turn, a betrayal. Naomi and Jade Cargill. I don't know what is going on with Triple H, man. I don't know what's going on with the booking, bro. I really don't. Jey Uso, who a year ago couldn't beat Damian Priest when Damian Priest was World Heavyweight Champion, couldn't beat Gunther I don't know how many times when he was World Champion, couldn't beat Roman Reigns when he was World Champion. How many title shots has this guy had and still couldn't get the job done? Wins the Royal Rumble. Shouldn't have happened, by the way, but whatever. Wins the Royal Rumble. Goes on to WrestleMania. Not only does he beat Gunther, which we knew was going to happen, unfortunately, but didn't even pin Gunther. Didn't even submit Gunther to pass out. Gunther taps out to Jey Uso. Y'all think about that for a second. Everything Gunther's done, everything Gunther's been through, everything he's done as World Heavyweight Champion alone, and he gets tapped out by Jey Uso at WrestleMania. This is a fucking joke. And again, I'm not saying, we need to lose all hope in Triple H or no shit like that. Like, I'm not jumping the gun and saying we need to abandon Triple H and fuck Triple H. But I'm just trying to figure out, where are we getting this shit from? Where are we going with these storylines? Where are we going with these superstars? Now, I will say, the mid-card titles right now are on fire. You got Dominic Mysterio, Intercontinental Champion. I praise that decision 100%. Even though I feel like Finn Balor's getting a little bit slighted, and has been for a couple years now. Still, he had a spot on WrestleMania. Did a pretty good job. That was a pretty good match. It wasn't a great match. It wasn't a terrible match. It was a good match. And they made the right decision. The United States Championship, Jacob Fatu and LA Knight. I do feel like LA Knight could have had that title maybe a little bit longer, but I get why they put it on Jacob Fatu. I'm not mad at that. That women's triple threat match, Bianca Belair and Io Sky and Rhea Ripley. I'm not mad at that idea. I'm not mad at the result of that. Io Sky walking out still champion. Ain't mad at all. But how many heel turns have we had just over the past week, including NXT? Right. So Becky Lynch turning heel last night. The fuck was the point of that? Rusev coming back. Look, I like Rusev. I do. But let's be honest. If these other guys aren't being booked right, especially on Monday Night Raw, what makes you think Rusev is going to be booked right? Let alone if he even deserves it. And I'm not going to say deserves it, because that could be that could be meaning anything, right? That could be meaning something totally different. What I'm trying to say. So I will say this, at least to us as fans, what has Rusev done to even be remotely in the spotlight on Monday Night Raw? I don't know what they're going to do, man. I really don't. Especially if they're going to be doing another, draft here in a couple months. Like they do every year. Look, I'm not mad at the whole Braun Breaker and Seth Rollins. They look cool, whatever. But I already voiced my frustrations on the fact that they had a triple threat match, main event WrestleMania on night 1, with nothing really at stake. But they made the best of it. I'll give them that. They made the best of it with the whole Paul Heyman being involved thing. So I'll give them a pass on that. But what happened last night? Well, you pretty much do a copy and paste of what Brock Lesnar did the night after Mania a few years ago when he lost the title to Seth Rollins when he cashed in the title. That was WrestleMania 31, I want to say. You did an entire copy and paste of that with Gunther and him choking out a commentator in Pat McAfee. And I'm pretty sure, actually, no, I'm not going to say that, so scratch that. Never mind. I was going to say something, but I was like, no, never mind. But the fact that they decided to do that the night after WrestleMania, another copy and paste of Brock Lesnar, after you had him tap out to fucking Jey Uso, to the Meme King, Yeet Master, and then to hear Triple H talk about how, these old timers. Yeah, well, he didn't say old timers, but these old veterans of the ring, right? The old veterans in the ring, and how they pretty much lift the lid off of the jar, right, in terms of believability and all that other stuff, and kayfabe and all that other stuff.
It always makes me laugh in this current day and age that old timers will do podcasts where they're giving everything away from their generation of the business and saying how terrible it is that these kids don't kayfabe today. So let me get this straight.
And then what was the last commercial, the last advertisement that we saw before the main event Sunday night at WrestleMania? What's that show that's going to be coming on Netflix? Like WWE Unleashed or some shit like that? Unscripted, or not unscripted, Unleashed, whatever it's called, where it's a show about going into the writer's room. Something they've never done before in the history of professional wrestling. It's to show you inside of a writer's room and pretty much giving you guys an inside look of the business that's never been seen before. But yet Triple H just days ago was just complaining. And again, I love Triple H. I'm glad that he's doing with it. But bruh, I don't know what the fuck who's been putting shit in his cereal the past few months. But you gotta stop. You gotta stop. 1 minute, Triple H is talking about how the old guys in the business are giving too much away about the business. And then on the other hand, you get a Netflix deal, and Netflix is releasing a show about WWE writers and the writing room and the writing process and the storytelling process at WWE. Make it make sense. Now, one would think that the most embarrassing thing that we saw this weekend was the dude that showed up to Rhea Ripley's meet and greet with a birth certificate asking for her to be his mommy and to quote unquote adopt him.
It's a first? Really? Okay. Hi. I have been waiting for this since last WrestleMania. It took me months to get this. Can you sign this to be my new mommy? Thank you so much.
Holy shit.
Dad, you good?
You adopted, yeah. You got a brand new mom.
And Rhea Ripley unsurprisingly says yes. One would even think that the most embarrassing thing this weekend was Samantha Irvin with a microphone, and she's not announcing. But in fact, the most embarrassing thing that we saw this weekend was a chick that was ringside that I don't even think she even got hit by Stone Cold's four-wheeler, and then decided to make a huge scene about it, and I'm pretty sure she's going to be getting some money out of it. This is the unfortunate thing, and this is what I always hate to see when it comes to wrestling fans. And people that claim to be wrestling fans, because we clearly saw, I'm pretty sure everyone in the entire stadium saw that the four-wheeler indeed barely even hit the barricade, first of all. Barely even hit the barricade. And she waits a few seconds and then drops.
And then all of a sudden, after realizing this, she's like, I fell over. I'm in shock. And she looks pissed. She's like, you son of a bitch. Like, and this guy's laughing in Austin, and he's looking at her in Austin.
Bruh. I mean, this entire weekend just wrote itself. It really did. So like I said, man, I watched wrestling this entire weekend from Friday all the way through Monday night. And it was a very, very tough pill to swallow at times. Jey Uso. But, again, it wasn't the worst WrestleMania. I'm not going to say it was the worst WrestleMania like a bunch of these SJW weirdos. Especially with them calling it a PR nightmare. I'm just like, bro, y'all are so delusional to say that it was a PR nightmare. These niggas just bought AAA. Ain't no nightmares, fam. They just made a boatload of bank over the weekend and bought AAA. I'm pretty sure ain't no nightmares for any executives at WWE, let alone superstars. But anyways, man, let me know what you guys think. I rambled on enough. Hit that like, hit that subscribe, all that good stuff. Do you agree, disagree? Let me know. It's your boy Corn, and I am OUT.